of some claims that were filed, and it looks as though the account will be closing out on the 29th, but we just want to know where we were with the pending claims, and I was hoping you can help me out. I can get a soda code for you too, let me go in and do that. Yes, yes, sir, he is. Yes, Florida identification card. Okay, bear with me just one moment. Coming your way. Alright. So that's Mike, India, 709er. Yes, sir. Multiple claims. Yes, sir. Okay. I'm not certain. So, so, so what should I add as far as which claims, or how will you know which claims? And could you repeat that? What? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. That's Omar Motion Ibrahim Fuad. Am I close? I hate to mess up names. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Mr. Omar, what they're saying is all the claims, everything's been, everything's back in the account. All the other claims have been closed. They said they were unable to stop or reverse the funds that went out, but if you could reach out to the recipient, they may be able to refund them back to you or return them back to you. But at this
Right.
point, all
See
claims are
that's
closed
see
out.
that's the problem. They're Wells Fargo, Walmart.com, Uber Eats,
Mhm.
and even a local real estate company, like I stated to you, they're all using this uh, call center in the Philippines with people who are using fake Indian voices. And every time I call to speak about something with Wells Fargo or Walmart.com or Uber Eats or even that real estate company, it was the same group of people. And I investigated it myself also. I would call. Every time somebody would answer with that fake Indian voice, I'd hang up and call right back.
Mhm.
And I did that so many times that they started routing the calls back to the same people with the same identical fake Indian voice. But what they did was they said they had a different name. So that's how I knew. But it was a pretty well experienced scam that they had going on.
Mhm.
And when I tried to reach out to the merchant themselves, Uber Eats, they said they wouldn't be able to give me my money back. And then they also started lying to Wells Fargo, and then Wells Fargo started lying to me from what I was told by the restaurant, one of the restaurants. They told me that Uber Eats told me that the restaurant told them that they told me to return the food that was the wrong order.
Mm-hmm.
They never told me that. And when they delivered the food, the restaurant was already closed because it was at the end of the day. And if they would have told me that, there wouldn't have been a way for me to even return it because the restaurant was closed. Furthermore, when I called Uber Eats and explained it to them, and they told me to send a picture, I sent them a clear picture with a narrative, with an arrow pointing at it, even pointing at the picture of the receipt, showing that I did not order this, and what's on the plate of food is not on that receipt. And I sent that also to Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo told me that they told them that they told me to return the food. That's why they couldn't give me my money back, and that's not true. Now, I called the restaurant myself, and they said they never told anybody to tell me to return the food, and they said that's a lie. And then when I called Wells Fargo back and I told them that the restaurant said that's a lie, Wells Fargo changed their entire story. They said that they're not going to give me my money back because I didn't return the food, as if they didn't care that the restaurant said that they didn't say that. So, you know what I mean? That's not fair for me. And then the restaurant themselves even said that they want to give me my money back, but they don't know how to process the refund because it went through Uber Eats. So, you know, I didn't know what to do from there because Uber Eats said they weren't giving me my money back. Then they said to call the bank to file the claim to get my money back. And that's what I did. And then Wells Fargo started giving me those excuses. Then shortly after, they closed my account.
So let's do this, because it looks as though, you know, you don't feel as though you've had resolution with the matter regarding the claims. The thing that I could do here is escalate a complaint to our executive office on your behalf, and usually it takes about 48 hours. Someone from our executive office will reach out to you, and they can go a little bit deeper.
I did that. I did all that over the phone
You've done
already.
that already.
I did every possible thing I could, and I documented it. The executive office gave me more excuses than the people on the phone with Wells Fargo. But not just that. I was trying to call an Uber ride to get here this morning, and I got an error message on the Uber app saying that I can't use the Uber ride until I pay $92.90 from the transaction made on January 25th at 9:14 p.m. And that's that same order of food that was the wrong order that I sent them pictures proving it was the wrong order. And they already credited me my money back for that. Then they took it back out of my account.
So they gave you like provisional credit.
They gave me and then they pulled it back out. And when they pulled it back out, I called them and I said, hey, what right do you guys have to steal $92.90 from my account? I already showed you pictures proving that it was the wrong order. And they said, oh, well, they said they told you to return it. I said, that's impossible. How could I return it? Even if they told me that, there wouldn't have been a way for me to return it. And if they would have told me that, I would have specifically told them, the restaurant is closed. You're more than welcome to meet me at the front door of the hotel where you brought the food. And I'd be more than willing to give it back to you because I'm not going to be able to eat it. And they took the money back out of my account. And when I called them, I complained about that. And I started noticing that, you know, their attempts with the people with the fake Indian voices started increasing at every single place that I was calling, that I had to, you know, fulfill just necessary living necessities, like purchasing food, paying for a place to stay, trying to find a permanent address that was livable and wasn't unlivable. You know, so it became more and more harassing. And then they also sent somebody to the Airbnb that I was living at who tried to steal my mail that Wells Fargo sent to me from a claim that I filed and won. And I caught him. He was literally hiding it under his laptop. And when I caught him, he threw it at me. And I reported him. I filed a police report. I reported him to Wells Fargo Fraud Department, all that. I even brought it with me.
So And can I ask you this question, sir?
Mhm.
I was just trying to listen to Mr. Omar and get some more insight. So with the Zelle claims, what is the total amount that was actually, that we were unable to stop, or do you have that amount? That'd be awesome. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Claim 202
I'm all set.
022 32796.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that for me? Okay. And all these were related to Zelle? Okay. So I have 600, 600, 300, 600, 600, 600. Okay. So those are the 6 claims that were closed. Okay. All right. Okay, because I know that we just spoke to. Hold on, bear with me. So we spoke to fraud, because it looks as though they were blocking all credits now, and so I know we blocked the card, but he can still come in and make withdrawals and that sort of thing at branch level, am I right? There shouldn't be any issues with that. Because I see there is okay. Yeah, I don't either. I just wanted to make certain we didn't have any issues, just in case he needs to get anything out and we don't have to hit a firewall or something like that. I wanted to be certain. All right, sir. Well, I thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, you too. Bye-bye. Yeah, so he's just reading what's on the file.
That's the letter he tried to steal from Wells Fargo that they sent me.
Okay.
That was from a claim that I filed against Uber Eats because I was noticing that they were, after I would order something from Uber Eats, there'd be an additional transaction for just pennies on the dollar. And it happened so many times, and I was starting to lose track of it, but then I started noticing it was happening so much, I had no choice but to, start documenting it and pay closer attention to it. And that was one of the transactions that they did that. And when I called, it was one of those people using a fake voice in the Philippines with a American name.
So after that date, well, I guess when they took a look at it, they hadn't charged it. Maybe it was like in pending status or something. And so they ended up closing it. Okay. Well, I'm not sure that the ones that they closed had to do with Zelle.
Yeah, those were for the because of the unlivable rental property in Vero Beach. They were conducting an online payment scam through Zelle and Wells Fargo, and I reported them. I sent them documentation, picture evidence, and everything.
I would say if that's something like that, that's a suit. It's probably small claim court.
Yeah, I contacted an attorney through the Florida bar, and
because once it goes to that Zelle, we can't. Once it goes through electronically, we can't reverse it. Almost kind of like a wire. If you wire funds to someone, and let's say it's to purchase something, and then you go and you get it, and you wired the funds, and now it's a dud, like it's a car or something like that, $1,200, $1,300. The funds have already gone out electronically. The other party then would have to, say, hey, I'm willing to reverse, or no, this is mine, because technically it's a contract between you and the other party, and if you agree to it, then it's kind of like the party on the other side said, no. He said he's gonna pay us rent for this. They got a little piece of paper, he owes us rent, so it's difficult for us because you've now said, yeah, I shot it out, but to recall it, that's where the problem lies, because it's a contract between you and the other party. That's why they couldn't do anything.
There was no contract. There was no lease agreement. There was nothing.
Yeah. So I would say for those,
I
because that's
found-
why I asked which ones.
I
you
found a
probably
place.
wanna go to-
I found them on Craigslist.
Yeah.
They had a different location advertised, and when I met with them in person, they sent me to a completely different location than what was advertised on Craigslist, and it was an unlivable rental location. And at first they were I was paying them through cash money, and I was paying the assistant to the landlord, and she was always drunk and intoxicated. And every time I pay her, I literally have to beg her to write me a receipt with the correct address and the correct amount that I paid with the correct date. And she literally was writing the wrong information, and it wasn't legible.
Wow.
So, and then every time I'd pay her, she'd try to argue with me and try to get me to give her more money. And she started getting violent. And I reported that to the landlord. The landlord, he identified himself as somebody who works for NASA or something like that. I don't believe it though. But regardless, he seemed like somebody who could, who would be able to, kind of resolve the situation from there. But it was a scam that they had planned out from the beginning. They would send people her way, and then the next step would be to him, as he was like the referee of the situation. And then once it got out of control, there'll be nothing. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what they did. They planned it that way. And I started paying him through Zelle, through Wells Fargo, and I even started paying him 2 weeks early so he could use that extra money to fix the things in the house that needed to be fixed. They never fixed anything. I lost all of my professional clothes, thousands of dollars worth of name brand clothes. It was all ruined because of mold and pests and filth, and all of my documentation. I literally left from Vero Beach to Tallahassee overnight. I spent $550 on the Uber and came straight to Tallahassee.
Wow.
And I had to go. And when I got here, I had to go to the hospital.
Oh man.
And then I went to Walmart and just bought a bunch of this cheap stuff. And then I found a place on Airbnb shortly after. But then all these little scams started happening just from me having to order food, look for a permanent address, just simple necessary living necessities, me trying to accomplish them. I was getting scammed. And it was one thing after another.
Well, I was looking at your profile, though. It looks as though for some of the things that were on there, it looks as though it was returned, but a reverse. Let me see. But for this, you're gonna have to go to small claims court for that one.
Yeah, I called the attorney that the Florida bar referred me to, and he said, I told him, I said, can I hire you? Because, I'm injured, I'm not feeling well, I don't have time to be focused on going back and forth to court, filing documentations and depositions and all that stuff. And he said, yeah, you'd be more than welcome to hire me. It's going to cost a couple grand, $2,000 to $3,000. But, it's something that I know you could do yourself. You know what I mean? It's only 2 documentations that you have to fill out to even open the case. And he says, I know you have legal experience.
I mean, this is small claim court. It had that written all over it. I would take that route, especially if you have proof that it, see, with the bank, because it's an electronic transfer from one party to another, because you technically sent it out, they can't recall it because you it's like you gave approval for it. So that's what's happening with that one. It looks as though the little ones, I don't know how many claims you may have.
Yeah, you see, if I would have known that, ahead of time when he said just Zelle me the money, I would have known right then and there. If I would have known that if I Zelle him the money and he doesn't